Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar series of rehabbing for real estate investing for the win. Today you get Andrew and Linda, but in this session today we're going to talk about focusing on residential rehabbing, but now we are going to focus on rehabs with additions, and we're just going to dive in into the nitty-gritty of a case study that we did. So we're actually going to show you the details of the floor plan, how we went from the as-is, did the addition on the floor plan. And if you've never seen floor plans, we'll walk through them, as well as we'll take you through the pictures as we did the construction and then the after. And then we'll tell you, the results of how it did on the market. So we're going to deep dive into a case study, review the before of the property, the differences with an addition versus just a rehab, looking at the plans, looking at the construction process, and then we're going to go live. So let me open up the, let me share this different screen. So new share to somewhere on here. Here we are. All right. So this is the floor plan. I'm going to have to zoom in a couple times. So at a super high level, this is the architect's stamped plans with the city of Austin. And so you'll see that this is just the house, the structure of the house. This includes the before and after layout. This includes the elevation, so looking at it from each angle. And then you want to have the building, what it looks like from each angle on there. Then we get into engineering plans, which includes like the roof. It includes the electrical. Because we had to do an addition, right? So this would be a foundation plan, and we'll go through all of this in a little bit more detail. So this one is the windstorm, like how to brace it, and the roof plan, and then the details of construction from the engineer. And then this is the site survey, land survey. So on this first sheet, it really shows you like before and after, especially with the trees. And Andrew, step in at any point and explain as well, because there's a lot about trees in Austin.
Yeah, just, it depends on what part of the country you're in. I lived in an area in Georgia where I cut down 30 pine trees, and somebody coming in a year later never knew they were there because we had so many trees. It was insane. In Texas, there's a lot of protected trees because we don't have enough of them. So these trees in the front yard, my memory is that they were either oaks or pecans, and those aren't trees that you just remove, and the backyard. And the circles you see around them have to do with something called the critical root zone, and you can't cover that. You can't build in the critical root zone because it's preventing water from getting through to the roots of the tree. So it limits what you can and can't do in construction. So what you see here is this layout of the lot. Then you get a tree survey where they say, here's the tree, here's how wide it is, here's what the critical root zone looks like. And then everything else that's left, that's where you can build. Is that a good description, sweetie?
Yeah, so this one is as 26 elm, so it's a protected tree. And what we've learned is when you go from county to county or city to city, whoever has jurisdiction, sometimes they have different rules on which trees and which sizes they protect. But this one, 26 elm, I would probably say it's protected almost anywhere. So here's so if it's 26 inch, right, from in your diameter, like if you're looking at it from one side to the other, that means that the critical root zone would be 26 feet. And that's what this big circle is, right? And then half of it, so you can see where our proposed patio is in that piece, but then half of it is a true critical root zone. You cannot build within half of that. So you can build within and again, it varies by jurisdiction. So that's the one that we worked. And so that's why you see that we built within this outside circle, but not within this circle. And of course you have to protect it, which they want to see how you're going to protect it. So if we zoom out, we were working around this tree, and of course this tree, right? And this was the existing house right here. and it did have a carport. So Andrew, who's an amazing designer, um, the
Thanks.
thing with this house is it was kind of rental ready, right? Rental level house, and it was 1,000 square feet, and it was two, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, right? And so we wanted to expand that because of the area, the comps in the area said you should have a 3-2 or a 3-2.5 in order. So there was a lot of opportunity in this area to flip it. And so that's what we did. So Andrew, do you want to talk to us as to, because I know you went through many iterations, why did you put the new master suite over here?
Yeah, so first let's back up a second. Every area is different. Real estate is local. The basic rules for what you just, how you plan and decide what you're going to do, those are the same everywhere, but you make different decisions based on where you are. So this particular area, older homes built in the 50s, mid-century moderns for those familiar with that style, which I happen to get a kick out of. I think it's because I watched the Brady Bunch too much growing up. Um, so all the houses in this area pretty much were 3 bedroom, 1 bath. And the other interesting thing about older homes like this, the trend in those days was to put the bigger bedroom, which was the master bedroom, in the front of the house, which is exactly the opposite of what we do nowadays. Now we put it at the back of the house. So the design was wrong.
So
So I'm
the
trying to see what I'm. Yeah.
this
So on
side
the
is the
left-hand
original.
side, that's the existing house. That's what we had to work with. It was just a long rectangle, one small bedroom, two decent sized bedrooms, but the bottom of the page is the front of the house, and no one wants a master bedroom on the front of the house. And
And
then
the
in addition,
entrance
of
was
course,
over
you.
here
Mhm,
between the bedroom 4 and the living room, right?
right.
I don't know why
So
this is not labeled right. Sorry. To cause confusion, there's bedroom 1, 2, 3 with 1 bath in the kitchen.
so couple good things about this, and when you get a house like this and you don't know what to do, the first thing to do, honestly, is figure out just what can you do. So for example, this rectangular shaped house, the way this was done and the way a lot of houses in the 40s and 50s and before actually were built is that the roof structure, the joists, the roof was engineered in such a way that you can pretty much open up as much as you want. You could clear out almost every wall inside the house if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That's that's not normal for construction nowadays. It's very different. And so any house you go to, the first thing I would do after looking around the inside, calculating the square footage, drawing out, here's how it is now, and saying, can we keep it as is or just tweak it a little so we're not spending a ton of money for a marginal gain? What are the options? And so the first thing is go up inside the attic and look and see, can we open this thing up? And on this house, if we wanted to, we could open it up pretty much what we wanted to. So that's an important thing to know. So always keep that in mind. In this case, it was pretty simple. It was Linda already showed you the layout of the lot where the trees were. So you now not only do you know what you can do with the inside of the house, now you know where you can expand to outside the house because you can't go into that critical root zone. So you're limited there. You can't just use up the whole lot. Um, and then of course there's the whatever the codes are in the area, how close you can come to the street, to the sides, to the back of the lot, and you're just playing within those rules. Past that, it's kind of looking at, okay, what's selling in the area for top dollar? And Linda touched on this earlier. What's selling in this area for top dollar? We needed a second bathroom and we needed a master suite. So not only having the master bedroom at the back of the house, but if people are going to pay top dollar for a house like this, they want an owner's retreat. They want a place to go to relax, that's quiet, that's beautiful, that's big and not cramped. So with this house, it became pretty simple of, we've got these two decent sized bedrooms at the front. We've got the smallish bedroom 4 in the middle, so we had to figure out something to do with that. We knew we'd want to open up the kitchen to the living room a little to make the space bigger. And then it's as simple as sticking a bedroom and bathroom on the back of the house. We didn't.
And also we had this AC unit here below that we'll have to talk about.
Yep.
So I think it would also make sense for me to share pictures of before as well.
I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but this is an ugly house. Is that fair?
So let's see. Here we go. Perfect. So I'm gonna open these up and then I'm gonna share my screen for this one. So new share. All right. So does this bring back memories, Andrew? So this is again, this was the kitchen. And as you can see, it's okay, right? It's the layout's a little odd, like this space is oversized for this oven. There's no microwave. You've got this wraparound thing. But could I rent it? Probably, right? You've got tile floors, right? This was the same tile floor that we did for the Ratatouille house, Andrew. Do you
It's the
remember?
same one we showed a couple weeks ago. The
But this
difference
one
is
has
this one
grout.
has grout as opposed to gummy bears and crayons in between.
Right, exactly. So,
Yeah, to Linda's point, this house was clean. This house had been rented out nonstop. It was in a trendy area close to the University of Texas, close to downtown, easy access to the airport. I don't know if you saw it, the you blew by the air conditioner picture. Um, that's a Lennox air conditioner. It's not a cheap entry level air
let's see
conditioner,
here.
and it
Yeah.
and it worked. It worked fine. Um, that's where you've got a tough decision to make here, and you have to do your analysis and say, okay, how does this work if I keep it as a rental versus how does it work if I put money into it and flip it?
Hmm.
And what had happened in this area is prices had gone up so much that the people finally decided, hey, we've been renting it. They already owned it outright. There was no lien against it, so they were making money, and they said, you know what, now's a good time to sell, which they were right. And because of the prices that people are paying for a house like this to flip it, it kind of eliminated the keep it as is option.
And this was the 26-inch elm. So it's a beautiful tree. So we'd definitely want to keep that. So
It's
this was
not
the
that the
original
tree was
house.
beautiful. The tree is beautiful. The most beautiful part of that tree is all the shade on the ground. In
Hmm.
Texas, shade matters. You just got to know
It's
your
everything.
area.
And then, so the house was four side stone, so 1,000 square feet, four side stone. So doing anything means that you have to take down the stone. And you can see, as Andrew was talking about the roof structure, this roof structure goes from the front to the back, right? And goes up in the side. So when you want to add on, you have to really think through how to tie the roof structures together. Because there's a lot of ways you can go around this, but you also want to optimize and keep. So over here, we had this shed. And then this blue thing was like that's where the laundry room
The
was an
laundry was
outside
a
laundry room and then a carport in front.
yeah, detached laundry. I had forgotten that the
So
house
they
was
had a,
purple. I don't know if anybody on the call here lives in a purple house. Thought it was amazing. And it
yep,
was not a shy purple. It was purple.
right. All right, so now we're going to go back to the plans. And so in working around that, and do you want to walk them through? I'm trying to, so we kept most of the original house the same, right? So over here, right? Bedroom 1, 2, 3, and the bathroom. Most of that stayed the same. Um, Anything you want to talk about those? We
Yeah, so
adjusted
what we did with
closets
the
some.
front, if you look at the right-hand side of the picture on the right-hand side, so off to the left is the as is. The diagram to the right is what we did with it. And that rectangle on the right-hand side, the only thing we really did different there is that bedroom that was a little too small, we converted into an office. And actually, we tweaked the plans beyond this.
Right. So we expanded more into this way and put in a closet and move the AC from here to here.
Right.
so that we would have more space inside the bathroom as well, right?
Whose plans were these? Can you scroll down? I just wanted to see the stamp.
Um, so the other piece is that
Can you
Andrew,
scroll down
we
real quick to the stamp? Was this William or was this?
no,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. So one piece, Andrew, remember we took this right here. You can see this kitchen and living room right here. It's much bigger, right? Because we expanded this wall and went out like 6 feet.
Mhm.
So instead of 16 feet, it now became 22.
Yeah, so the first plan for this house was actually just to go straight back and have one long rectangular house. And it actually worked really well. The challenge with it is this house is on almost a quarter acre, which for a near in-town neighborhood, it's a pretty good sized lot. And by going straight back, one, it cut off the yard and made the yard feel smaller. The second thing is the yard sloped downhill from back to front. So if you were building straight back, you'd end up burrowing underground a little bit. And you want to explain to everybody that that wasn't CBD oil you just put in your mouth? We've got allergies going on here right now. So burrowing underground makes makes building a little more difficult because you've got to deal with waterproofing and drainage. The other thing it does is that if we were burrowing underground and having to go a few feet down, thanks, Nita, um, we would be getting into the roots of trees. And even if you're not in the critical root zone, which by the way, going back would have eliminated one of the trees and we didn't want to. But even if you're not, you're still damaging existing roots to trees. And if you can avoid doing that, it's a good thing. So rather than go straight back, this is where we decided to make it more of an L-shaped house. And this is what we ended up with. And then to Linda's point, we saw the kitchen. You saw the pictures of the kitchen earlier. Um, it was clean. It was set up. It was a little odd, but it worked. It was usable. But to get top price, we needed more counter space, a more logical layout. We needed a kitchen island, and then we needed room for a legitimate dining area
Mhm.
with a chandelier that looked like a sea urchin. I hope you have a picture of
So,
that.
so instead now you would still walk in the same place, right? So, and you'd enter in this space from here, but now there's a entrance straight and you can enter into the living room and access all of this over here. But then Andrew designed a master suite on this side, and then brought in the laundry room indoors as well, because before it was outside. It was like a little outhouse. So this master also had access to now this new patio in the back. Again, this whole shape was working around that tree with a master suite, an entire master bathroom and big closet. So it was a nice layout, really flowed. And so then the carport was here. So we had to build a new carport and move it more forward. And then we didn't want to enclose the carport because you'd have this long walkway, right? That would be really creepy and eerie. So we left it very open. And I think you're going to like what we actually wound up doing with it.
Nita, I saw your question about the outdoor. So we eliminated the original laundry area. We capped it and eliminated it completely and built the new one inside.
Yep. 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 So the elevations, again, it's from every angle of the house. So you can see where everything's at with regard to like this new carport. So this is existing, right? This is existing front, back, left, right. And then so this would be the new where you've got the proposed. And so what we did here is you had the original roof here, and then we extend it this way. So the original house went this way, and then the addition went in the opposite direction. And then the carport had a slight angle to it. and then you had a walkway to the front door. And so we also strategically put in the windows. I will tell you that one thing we do now, and we kind of did it on this house as well, is given the lead times on materials, we will literally go see what's in stock and make the house to that. If you're doing super high-end custom, yeah, you're going to want fancy windows and beautiful designs. Just know that they may take, 6 weeks, 6 months to install. So pay attention when you're designing to your material lead times and availability and pricing as you design. That also applies to doors as well, because you don't want to have on this house, there was a nightmare with the doors, and I tried to keep it simple, and anything custom can throw it off. So, which means carrying costs. So here you can see the roof line. So this was the new roof put on. We even go so far as to define the electrical plan, where all of the outlets go, the ceiling fans, how it's connected. We literally get into always the details of where the switches are and what connects to the switch, because we've had many, many times where they try to install them and it doesn't make any sense. And you don't want a house to be, right? So if you can just put it on paper, take the time to put it on paper, it saves you so much down the road. We put in the details of how many can lights, where the can lights go, how they connect, pendant lights. We think through like the usability of each space. You're walking through, you want the switch here, you want the switch here, it connects to here. Literally every detail. The more you put into planning on paper, the better it'll save you. This is the foundation plan, right? So we had the existing dwelling. I will tell you that the existing house needed piers as well. We put piers around the external to support it, because what happened is that the water was draining under. We've got a lot of clay, right, which can expand and contract, and water was going under this house and getting stuck there and actually pushing the center up. So we had to level the outside, because you don't want to attach a new foundation to an existing foundation if they have to move in sync, right? You have to make sure that they're rebarred in from one to the other and they're connected, but you can't connect it to one that's not level or potentially moving. So that's what we did, is not only level it from the outside, but we also needed to pay attention to the water and how it moved around the lot, right? So we added French drains from the back. We built a little retaining wall and then added French drains and had it go around the house, so that and put in gutters so that it wouldn't cause future foundation problems as well. So this right here, these lines right here, when you, and I think I've got pictures that I can show you where, as the foundation was being built, the lines are where the rebar structures are built and poured. The center is like the wooden, the dirt structure with sand on them, and then they pour over. So you would create the forms, create the rebar, create the dirt and the sand, and then have your electrician and plumber come put anything in, right? Get that inspected, and then you would pour. And we'll show you pictures as we get there. I'm not going to go into the details of bracing or structure, but these are instructions that give your contractors how to set these up, how to construct, how to frame. This was just the lot. Any questions so far while I open up pictures? All right, let's see.
So while Linda's doing that, the video I was trying to find, and unfortunately I can't find it. It's a funny video that Linda sent me. It's a husband and wife, and the wife asks the husband to cut a watermelon for her and hands it to him. And before he touches it, it's sitting on the counter, and he goes and selects the proper knife he's going to use. Then I think he puts on an apron. Then he's got to sharpen the knife first before he gets to this. And the wife just wants a bite of watermelon. And while he's doing all this, she takes her fist and just pounds it on top of the watermelon, which cracks it open. She picks up half of it with a spoon and starts eating. And he just looks at her like she's nuts. The reason it's fitting for this is this this wasn't a complicated rehab, but figuring out exactly how to fit everything in to try and get to build exactly what people would want and what people would pay top dollar for, it wasn't simple. It was a little complicated, and it took several iterations, several revisions. We ended up using more than one architect on this. So there was a lot that went into it, but it's worth doing that planning. So I hate to say I'm the guy who's putting on the apron, picking out the right knife, sharpening it while my wife's cracking it open, doing a karate chop. Yeah. Um, but in this world, and I saw someone commented on this, the light switches, walking through the plans and saying, okay, if I'm living in this house, where do I want the light switches? Where do I want two-way switches? Where do I want three-way switches? What do I want that makes sense so that you can literally just hand it to your electrician and say, do this. And that's what eliminates the problems at the end where you end up with a bathroom that you have to walk completely through and past the shower to get to a light switch to turn anything on. And we've seen it. So, all right, pictures.
Yes, so we moved this shed to the back of the lot so it could be continue to be used, and we'll show you pictures at the end. But this is, I just wanted to show you the land, right? So the house is here, the land in the backyard comes, and I'm being dramatic for effect, but it comes towards the house, right? So the water was all coming into that house problem. So if we extend this foundation into here, now you're going to have to excavate, and now you've got land that's up high. And so what you can see here is this is the frame for the addition, right? And it is level, but you can see how the ground just on the other side is up above it. And so that's where we built a retaining wall. So let me go through the pictures. So this was us showing that the existing foundation was off, and that's why we needed to adjust it. So they just basically use water, and you can see the level of the water from one point of the house to another point of the house. You can see the cracks in the original. See that it needed some work. So they tape it to show this is where, the basis of the house is, like in the center, and the variation. So I was just marking the room. So to the right is the street in the front of the house. And so, yes, we had to take off all of this beautiful stone. And this was now the addition. We were framing it out, excavating and framing it out. Over here on the left is the fence to protect the trees. Right, and let me now show the next step was 9-6. All right, so let me share these pictures. I think this one was actually before the last one. So you can see how much we had to excavate of the dirt to where the foundation was going. And so this was putting in piers for the original house. So they actually cut down, right, from the outside, and then they lift up right under the house and install piers.
Yeah, let me jump in real quick. For those of you who haven't done foundation work, this is one, having people who really know what they're doing with foundations and then knowing your area. So our first big rehab, which I think we're gonna do it sometime, Wellington was, I don't know, half a mile from this house. Uh, and the whole neighborhood slopes downhill towards a creek. And the only way to say this is the entire neighborhood is sliding downhill towards the creek. It's one of those things where over millennia, it just slowly all start moving, and it's already moving. So Linda showed pictures of the foundations. The cracks that were in there were actually relatively minor. That wasn't the big problem. The problem is the house was tipped. It was not level. And if you're gonna again get top dollar, you want to be able to show people, hey, here's what was going on with the foundation. It's solid, but it wasn't level, so we leveled it. And we did that before we tied the new house and into it. And here's how we did the new foundation so that you won't have this problem. And it gives them peace of mind to see that you knew what you were doing and you put some thought into it.
Yep. So you can see more of the holes all around the house. That's how many foundations we put in.
Yeah, and again, for anybody that hasn't done this, all those holes are holes to get underneath the house. So they dig a hole next to the house, they then excavate under the house, they pour a concrete form between they'll go down depending on how far they need to. In this case, I don't know that they needed to go further than a couple of feet. They built some concrete forms underneath and then tied that into the foundation so that it won't move.
Right. All right. Trying to make
I
sure I.
forgot how purple this house was.
That's funny. All right. So let me also share this. I want to make sure that the pictures weren't exactly the same. So here we're taking what's in plan and saying, what does it look like in reality? Part of the problem is that this house isn't completely perpendicular to the lot, right? So when you get into reality, right, it's not going to be exactly on paper. And so you need to be out there with them making decisions and tweaking. So this was the front door going in. And when they started at the outside, because you have to, the most critical part is you've got your lot line and you've got your easement. Well, you can't build in the easement. So we had to make sure that we could for sure be square with that. So then we started building the frame from the lot line to the house. And as we got to the house, it wasn't exactly as it was on paper. And so this was us measuring, making decisions as we're doing construction. And that's why you have to kind of be out there routinely.
And I saw a
Um,
question just popped up. This actually was a house that we visited with a group. We did a teaching class at this property, probably right around the time these pictures were taken, because we had just cleaned out the inside and cleaned out the attic area. Um, what happened on this house, not to go negative, but our architect actually passed away. And that's why I was asking Linda earlier about the plans. The challenge there, and I'll since Linda gives ninja tips all the time, I'll give my, I don't know what to call them, something other than ninja tips. Um, when an architect's stamp dies with them and a new architect doesn't necessarily want to take over someone else's plans because they almost feel like they have to start from scratch. And we're hiring an architect right now, and he is a one-man shop. And I told him, I said, I like you. I think you see the vision I need for what we're trying to build. Here's my concern. And I told him, and he said, no, he said, that's perfectly understandable. Here's what I'd like to do. And he brought in a firm that he used to work for to be backup for him. So in our contract is actually saying he's our architect, but should something happen to him, they will take over his contract.
yep. Yep. Um, so this was to the left is the street. So the driveway was actually made in pieces, but now we're doing a new driveway. And so we actually wanted to extend this length. And so from a budget perspective, from a design perspective, from a resale perspective, we're making decisions on what to change, what not to change. But we needed to make sure that the driveway that we're pouring is now straight and level, even though the house may not have been level on the lot. And so that was part of the discussion here, is that the way the plans weren't house. And so aesthetically, we decided that we needed to make sure that it lined up with the house, the edge of the carport. Because we're all about symmetry, right, Andrew? You taught me
Yep.
that. So here was where the plans were, but here is where it would be straight with the house. And so we were just making those decisions on the fly. This would be the walkway. So it's the left where that ditch is the carport. This is the walkway to the front door. Okay, let me close out both of these and I'll open up the next set. All right. So here we go. So this is now us pouring we've now poured the foundation, out materials. for the next step, which is framing.
And what you see there, sorry,
Go ahead.
at the top of the picture, I know it's at an angle, but at the top of it is more the driveway coming in from the street. And then the part closest to the bottom of the screen is where the foundation is for the new addition to the house.
Mm-hmm. And so this was now, the foundation was poured, right? You can see that it's lower here for the carport, right? And then, so now we're starting to lay out the frame for the addition. This is pouring the concrete. So you can see the pipes were already up in there. These, I may not be showing these in order. So the guy's pouring it out. The original house was open and exposed because now we're going to add on.
This is the part I was explaining
Just
earlier.
the,
We went up in the attic and saw that we could just open this house up as much as we wanted.
yeah. So one thing I noticed is this on the right-hand side is literally just cardboard box with dirt in it, and they have the pipe up, and that they usually do for the tub or the shower, so that when they go to install it, if they need to move it a little bit, they can do that within the dirt. It won't be cemented in. We had to do new trench lines so that we could run power. And so we needed to cut those out, put the wire in, do the inspection, and then fill it back in. Same here with the sink. We were adjusting the drain for the bathroom. So where it goes down here is the carport, is the patio, I'm sorry. And this was the extension where we extended the original house, the living room out further towards the back while keeping the trees protected. That does not belong there. That's our RV park. I need to adjust those photos. Okay, so next, wrong project. Okay, here we go. So this is now going to get into the framing as we build it out. And this is some exciting stuff right here. It starts to look like a real house, like a real house. Okay, so this is now, we've completed the framing, and this is also the carport. So, and we've changed out all the windows, put in new windows. Some of those windows, remember they had the handle on them, Andrew?
I want to call out a couple of things here.
Go ahead.
So number one, this is a little different than the roof line we saw on the original picture. The original picture had a single sloped roof as opposed to a peaked roof. And as we got into design, we actually figured out that this would work a lot better. And the key there is you just do the same slope for the smaller carport. You do the exact same slope as you have on the house, and it looks like it was designed that way. It looks like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You just match them.
So now you can start to see the plans coming through where this is the front door. This is now the master suite. Carport, we made it really high. We changed the roof, the shingles, we changed the windows. This is now, this tree is still protected throughout the process. And back here is now the back patio. In Austin, right? We do the wood, we do the wrap. We do, I don't know if you can see down here above the window, we do an OSB board, and then the plastic wrap, and then the hardy. And construction is different from different places. So these were pavers, big pavers that were by the front. And so since we moved the storage back here, we wanted to use some of these pavers to be like a landing place out in front of it. So we pushed them back here during construction before we got into landscaping towards the end. And that was the hardy. So this is a view from, again, that 26-inch elm, looking from the back. This is that new patio into the living room. This is coming from the front door. So now as you walk in to the front door, to the right is the original house, and forward and all left was brand new. So here's that laundry room and then back into the master suite. So this is all brand new. I will say that we did make a change on the master bathroom to make it make the shower bigger and better optimize the space. So you can see the plumbing coming in here for, this is the master bathroom. So the plumbing coming in here for the sinks. On the other side, we built a half wall because now we made a walk-in shower. And what we did is we actually bought the glass that we wanted. So it wasn't custom, didn't have long lead times, and then built to fit the glass for the showers. So walking into, so this is the laundry room. So you've got your washer on your left, your dryer on your right. And then on where the picture is being taken is just some pantry storage space.
So I'm sorry, there's a lot of little details that
Yeah.
so what Linda just called out was a huge tip and cost saving thing that just kind of got glossed over. When we're doing a shower, there's designing it for aesthetics and to kind of make it perfect from a design standpoint. And then there's a cost part as well. So for example, getting a 2 foot or a 3 foot section of glass, say 24, 30, or 36 inches, you can get those. They're all prefab. They're mass produced. That's easy. But if you need one that's 33 inches, now you're talking custom, and custom's expensive and takes time. So in this case, my memory is on this one, part of it was simply making the closet 2 inches bigger. There's like little things you can do that once it's done, people will be like, oh, I have a bigger closet or a slightly smaller closet, but they didn't know the original size. So it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And by making that adjustment, it allowed Linda, as she said, to go out and pre-order, so no one had to wait on it, the glass and the panels and the door for the shower. And then they just built the walls where they needed to be to fit that. That was a great idea, sweetie.
Thank you. The other piece is that when you're doing a custom, they won't come out to measure until the tile is put in. So
Yeah.
like you're almost done with the house, then they come and measure, and then you've got a long lead time potentially. Plus the cost is like 3 times or more. So this is the master suite. Again, this right here is going out into the patio. This right here is the going into the attic. And one thing I will call out is at this point, I'm discussing with my HVAC guy, and I am questioning and triple questioning about putting the HVAC system in the attic instead of using up interior space. One, it's louder when it's inside the house versus in the attic, and two, it uses up space. So going into the master suite here, that's where the master sinks go. This was what we built as the master walk-in shower with a bench. This is this is the shower head right here. So we're looking in the shower. That's where the toilet is, and then that's where the master closet is. Now going back into the original part of the house from the front door, this is now looking into the living room and the kitchen. Right, you can see we had the original duct still there. We had to brace the existing wood, and then we had now the new framing, and we adjusted the frame here, so that's why that was new as well. Now this is looking into that first bedroom on the right, this bathroom. And you can see sorry, let me go back one. This is right here where we had planned for the AC unit to move to. And that's where I was talking to him about, do we really have to have this right here? It's like such an eyesore right in the middle of the space. And so we actually talked, and he measured and triple measured and found out that yes, in the new space that we built, the attic was actually enough space high up for him to put the unit there. And so mid build, we actually changed the floor plan and moved the HVAC to the front, to the top, and worked it through the city. And it worked so much better. So now this space was so much bigger, so much brighter with all these windows. And you'll see the kitchen just came out beautifully. The plans had 3 windows on the left, a smaller door in the middle, and then 2 windows on the right. And so again, for symmetry, big windows on the right and made the door bigger. And it just made the room symmetrical. This was the old AC unit going into the old bathroom. So we made some adjustments there, kept the wood where we could, made all the windows fit what was in stock, made the closets as big as we could. So this was now the original bathroom going out to the patio, covered patio. And so this was part of the retaining wall that we built. And then what we did here towards the end is, since this land was higher, we built a French drain that came and went under the foundation. So went from here, this corner right here, under the foundation to there, and then the French drain continued out to the front of the house. All right, next. Let's see. Let me show you what the house looked like when we finished it. Here we go. We always get professional pictures. They always make everything look so much better. So we had to do this backyard fence on the other side was bamboo. And so like we really had to work that. But you can see we mulched the tree. We put the pavers here. We kind of framed around the pavers. We painted this from that color. It was like a greenish color. So we made the entire house basically the same. White walls, white trim, entire house, that luxury vinyl plank, and then made all the hardware black. We did the 5-panel doors. So these are the bedrooms. So this is what we did here in the front, right? So you can see the entrance here. All we did, these aren't pavers that we picked up. We actually framed these and kind of offset them. So we've got this continuous, but it just gave it an amazing effect. It was it's a beautiful entrance. We made the front door pop with a yellow, and then we made these gutters here. And I didn't want like this gutter thing hanging here. So I had it come down. I had to work with them a couple times to get it to really work, but had this come here and then had this rain chain come here to make it a prettier entrance. Because I didn't want this like sticking, attaching to my beautiful cedar posts as well. And so the grout of the brick or the stone, we made that kind of match the color of the house. This was the hall bath now, right? This is now the kitchen with that island, that wraparound. We kept it very simple. These were actually IKEA cabinets. It's amazing when it gets delivered and you got like 100 boxes and they want you to sign that everything's there. So the living room, really bright, really open. You've got these amazing doors. That's the sea urchin symbol that Andrew was talking about. This is the laundry room with the shelves for the pantry. So we did an overhang on the in a waterfall, they call it, when you wrap around the countertop. And this is engineered quartz countertop wrapped around to the sides and indented in to create a space. And then of course we just used the same tile from the backsplash down here to give continuity. So we didn't make really any decorations with the construction. We just decorated it with the staging. And then in this office here, we did barn doors. Again, these two French doors really just opening up into the backyard makes it beautiful. So this is the master suite. Again, we put barn doors there to build continuity throughout the house. Really large master suite. And then the bathroom came out beautifully. So again, like we talked about with the glass for the showers, same thing applies with mirrors. We would wait until we got to this point and then order custom mirrors, and they're actually pretty expensive. I actually bought these off of Wayfair, and I didn't know how they were going to come out and how they were going to be delivered, but it worked out beautifully, and it was way cheaper, and it got there really fast. So this is the whole walk-in shower. Andrew did a great job picking out the different coloring to go with everything. Half wall with the bench right there worked out beautifully. Again, continuity between for the barn doors, we kept them both on the same side to match the look and a feel and flow of the house. The master closet, we added in custom shelving. This is the shower. We love big niches. And you have to really plan them in the framing stage. So I love big niches and I love long niches. Plus you've got the bench and then you've got a ledge around the shower. You want to have enough space for that. And so we picked up a lot of our hardware off of Amazon, much cheaper often than Home Depot sometimes. So this is the office. Oh, this is, we included nearby park overhead that was being built. So this is the back patio. And apologies for these pictures not being in order. So this is the back patio. Really gave it and actually the person that bought this right after us, he sent me pictures and he screened this whole thing in, made it look very beautiful. Very homey. He took our vision and made it to the next vision. So let's see if I've got some pictures or some comments. Do you have any extra insulation in the roof? If you put the HVAC in the attic due to the Texas heat. So we have to make sure that we do the radiant barrier in Texas, which allows you to make sure that you can reduce the heat. So we really make sure that you I actually put in extra insulation. So the insulation that's required here is just the external walls. I actually put insulation in every single wall to not only make the house more efficient, but also for sound. And it's not that expensive. But the radiant barrier, you want to make sure that when you're doing a brand new roof, that the decking has radiant barrier under it. And that also keeps the heat out. And then you can put in, there's different kinds. You can do blown insulation. You can do roll like foam or just rolled insulation, or you can do spray foam. Spray foam is the most expensive. Blowing it in yourself is the cheapest, and that's what we I think did here. And so you just need to make sure that you have to pass an energy test to do that. So yeah, thank you. So we were able to put this property on the market in June and June of 2023. Yeah, of last year. And so we put it on the market for 724,000. This was after the market started kind of coming down. The interest rates were going up. And so we kind of put it at the top of the market. But ironically, like as I kid you not, I was sweeping this house and I was like, Lord, let me rush out, sweep out all of the frustration and all the anger and all the resentment that may have come along with this house. And I pray that you bring in a buyer who appreciates the sweat and equity that we put into the house and can feel the love that we put into this house and that they love this house. And we got an over asking price offer within a week. And this buyer loved this house. And it made me feel so special that they loved what we built and put together. And then they sent me pictures after of how they were, decorating it and even making improvements upon our improvements. And it just filled my soul. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. And if we can go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So let me switch where we're sharing. So let me share to here now. I hope that this was helpful for you. I think that next week we will go into, let's see. So if you're looking to invest with us, please send us any information. Debbie, I've got your email address, and I'll add you to the newsletter as well. And so next week, I think we're going to do another edition. We've got another one that we want to walk you through. And so look forward to that. I think it's helpful when you see multiple options and walking through them as well. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate you spending the time with us, and this will help you in your future ventures as well as you do real estate investing.